play, I think it's turn 103 or maybe it's 104. I can't remember. 104 of PB15. I had a look around this last night, or more correctly, about 6 hours ago, just to see what had happened after the turns roll. I wasn't playing it at that time. I was just too tired, and there was no rush. Basically, tech rate's gone up by about 5%. Went up from like, so it's still increasing. In fact, it's increasing to the extent that I'm going to generate, I think it's 246 bass speakers, not bass, adjusted speakers at the end of this turn with the current way the labourers are set up. I only need 201 to finish aesthetic, so I'm actually going to overflow a fair bit. If I look at what I can do with horseback riding, you see that I'm getting close to being able to one turn this with a bit of overflow. So I'm not even sure. I think that after I finish aesthetics, I'm actually going to end up one turning every single tech I need for the next 1, 2, 3, six turns. And also, if you look at the amount of gold I'm spending now every turn because of the wealth builds, you can see that I can research for quite a while. To the extent that I think I can actually, if I skip construction, I might actually be able to get music. I might actually be able to get to music before I run out of gold. I didn't expect that, and it's a little bit scary. Because that's pretty fast. And he's farming. Okay, let's just have a quick look around. I see that Novice is farming. You can tell because he's finished the farm. He doesn't have calendar. He doesn't have too much of a reason to get it, to be honest. The farm's almost as good as the plantation on the banana. Silks is only one happy, and he doesn't have anything else that he can hook up. He could settle for the dye, but where's his food? He'd have to settle to split off the wheat, or he'd have to settle for the sheep, which he can't do it anymore this turn. He's already played this turn, so there's no worries about a double move. So yeah, he won't. He could settle. He could again settle for the die still, like between the peak, but I don't know the two peaks, but I don't think he would. Though we may. Anything else? There's Vindicator's not doing much. He's checked out almost now. I can't see anything from Thoth over here. Can't see anything from Commodore. There's nothing really at this front. So I'm just happy to keep on playing the turn and finishing what I'm doing. I'll have a quick look around. Lewin's already played this turn, and he's not being aggressive. I think the city's... I can't remember here. I think the city must be between the... adjacent to the dye and sheep with the silks in its borders. I'm not sure if it would have been better to plant it with the lake, so he also got the furs, but I think Lewin expected to get the Barb City, so he'd have both of those two tiles anyway. Obviously, that's no longer the case. Where do I move the warrior now? I can move it up to scout out around here and just to update the world map a little bit, or I can go back down to see what's happening back around here. Realistically, I don't think it matters much about either. I'm going to end up trading world maps again at some point in the future, most likely, so I'm not too concerned about this little area. Or this little area is probably worth more, so I can see where the cities are settled, because up here there's not much space for cities. So I'm going to move. I'm going to move here. Doesn't it? I'm just going to move straight down and around. Anyway, minus 47. So we'll see what happens when I settle this. New city. I think I'm going to chop first though, so I can either stack 2 workers to road the tile more, so I immediately get trade routes, or I can move to get just do the forest. Like 1 worker to do the forest and worker to road. I'm actually going to get the road done because that also speeds up the mine by a single turn. Um, that's probably going to piss off so many people, that city is. As I said before, this isn't the ideal dot map, but I'm not being that aggressive to Thoth. Like, not when he's put Flab there. So that's pretty much it. That city's cost me 7 gold per turn. That's not as much. I mean, that's much more manageable now. That is definitely much more manageable. So I'm happy with that. I mean, I think it's about the very similar to the amount of gold I was paying for like Andal Carry and Do Not Die when I planted those. But because I just research, I just can tech. I produce more commerce, more beakers, so it doesn't hurt as much. Interestingly enough, what would happen if he moved in like no, he's no chariot there. If he moved in 2 spearmen and an archer, what would happen? I'd put a spearman in the city. I'd finish a spearman as well, wouldn't I? So actually, because I've got so many units like about to be completed, that my powers is deceptively a bit lower than it is in reality. Anyway, let's just move the workboat forward. I'll get the fish up next turn, I think. I don't know. Oh, that was an archer auto moving. God, that scared me. I thought I'd... Yeah, that scared me. Do I irrigate or road now? Irrigate or road? Well, the units aren't in position to road right now, so I'm actually going to farm. Do I farm that tile so I can give the sheep back? Get 6 this turn, 3 next turn, so I'd be at 9. Then I'd be working that. Actually, I think I do. What I think I do is I farm that tile and I make sure that there's a mine that I can use once it's grown to size 2. Because the mine will enable me to get enough hammers in place to just chop that forest to finish the granary. And it also means I can give the sheep back. I actually think that that's the better way to do things. So I'm going to irrigate. I irrigate this turn. Next turn, move both. Cancel that. I'll irrigate with the second worker. Worker 10. Worker 8 can do what precisely? Okay, good question now. How quickly until I get to ironworking? Now I've said I'm going to overflow off enough to get horseback riding in 1 turn. I'm definitely, at the rate I'm going, I'm going to be producing about 200, I reckon an average of 250 adjusted beakers per turn. Well, mysticism 74 base. Don't know why there's 1 beaker into that. Can't remember. Meditation, polytheism. Well, you're looking at like 100 overflow from that, 130 overflow from that, so that's 280. I mean, that's almost literature just there, without anything else. There's also the overflow from mysticism, so if you think about it, 104 in aesthetics, then it's 105 for mist, 106 for meditation, 107 for polytheism, 108 for literature, 109 for horseback riding, then 110 for ironworking. Is the way I think it's going to go. So, on turn 110, I want as many workers as possible in position to improve that banana. That means I'll need a road on that tile and the workers to be within 3 tile radius of that. It means I want it roaded fairly soon. So I need to move a worker on. Actually, to move it on was it 7? So I can road it on 8 and 9. So the work is then free to help improve that tile on 10, yeah. So where can I do it? What can I do until then? Road on 5, do on 6. Might actually just be quicker, no, it wouldn't be quicker. Damn it, I need so many workers. Yeah, I'll just move that over. I'm just thinking about this now because that's not an easy not something easy to do. Unit costs are going down slightly. They both irrigate on 5. They finish on 6. One road's on 7. Road's on 7. Road's on 8. Road's on 9. There's no road on that sheep. Crap. And the borders pop 113 as well. These borders are going to pop. These, okay, I'm going to have to use 2 workers here to improve the wheat, most likely. I'm going to need these. Yeah, I've come to the point now where my cities are growing so fast, I actually need more than 10 workers. I've managed until now using the workers for a growth rate that was actually slower than what it currently is. So I have kind of screwed up. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this city off. And build a worker. I'm going to chop in, finish a worker. I am going to do that. I am going to actually chop worker. 2 work. I think I'm going to chop 1 work. Basically, it's going to work out chopping 1 worker, building another. So it's going for 4 turns. I'm going to sit on a worker here. I'll do a slave it. If I wanted to, what I do? Okay, I can move him on. I can just. I chop now. I can slave it next turn and slave off that. Or what do I? Because I'm working this out now with a slave. If I chop this city, chop a forest into this city this turn, plus the 14 height production, I'll be at 45. 105, I whip it, and I'd basically be at 75 hammers, so I'd only be producing 14 production a turn, so I'd be at 29. So I would actually delay it slightly. So I'm not going to whip this city for this worker. I think I'm going to I need to chop it this turn or next turn. Yeah, I'll chop it next turn, I think. Or actually, yeah, I'll chop it next turn. Because that won't speed up the worker. The worker that mines can do whatever, I don't care. Do I road? I was thinking about running it over there. It's going to waste a turn anyway. I need to get it checked out. I need to get it onto that. I was expecting to have that tile mined, but I'm behind on worker turns now. I didn't judge it. Really didn't judge it well. I actually do have to burn 1 worker turn just to get to this tile so it can move on in time. Move that to mine. Okay, I move him there. Next turn he moves on and he finishes to mine. Then he roads for turn and he moves to mine the 4 and cancels. And the road finishes and he moves to mine that tile. Yeah, this is what I do. So I move him here and I just eat the worker turn. Leave the spear in position. Okay, what to do with this worker? What can I do? So I've got 4, 5. So what was it? So it's 4 for aesthetics, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So no, 111 Wait, no, I can't count. 111 I can improve that banana, which would mean move it on turn 108, road 9 and 10, and then do the plantation on 11. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 turns to do stuff. 1, 2, 3. There's no really good way of doing this. There is no really good way of doing this. I actually wonder now if I should use this. I said that I want to use a mine at City 9, and I do want. And now I'm going to irrigate. I'm going to give the sheep back as soon as possible, which to me suggests mining that Plains Hill actually, and just sucking it up and mining the Plains Hill. I'm going to mine the Plains Hill and be done with it. Doesn't, yeah, I've got 4 turns I can mine it and then get the road in place in time. Build the barracks, it's going to be the first thing built, then I can drop the overflow into whatever I need. And that's most of the turn done. Next turn, chop the forest into the Scarrow Ward and finish worker, I think it's 11. Worker 11. Move the worker 2 onto a forest. I've got to move onto a forest now. Build another worker, chop, build another worker, chop, dump the overflow, whatever. Dump the overflow, whip. I don't know. See, the other choice is I just stack some whips, but I chop next turn. Oh no, now I'm chopping next. I'm actually not concerned. If I'd have chopped this turn, I could have whipped one pop whip next turn, but I can't do that now that I've mined the tile and not. But I wouldn't want to do that anyway, would I? Next, then afterwards. Yeah, I don't want to whip out the city. Okay, so let's go through the cities quickly. I've screwed this city up too much. Really need that banana. I should have had. Would have been really nice to get if I could have just got an ironworking that bit quicker. This city needs 28 hammers to finish the library. This turn I used the plains on grass forest. Next turn I used the plains forest to get it to maximum overflow. Right, so 8, 9, and 9. Then I'll move. No, what was it? So yeah, 1, 2. Then I'll move everything onto the hammers to do that. To get max overflow and then build wealth for a few turns. Finish the archery, go straight on. I'll get 24 hammers overflow out of this, and I'll go straight onto Statue of Zeus. For a single turn, I can work grass forest to make it up to 25 hammers. So I won't be 1 hammer short. Finish Statue of Zeus in 7. I will get it in 7 exactly. What else is there? I'm not finishing the spear because I don't want to pay upkeep still, so I'm still building wealth. I don't have time to build a worker now. I'm not using the sheep and all that shit. Doesn't matter. I'm going to get workers out of here as well. I am going to get some workers out of here. At least one. Potentially more. Next turn I'll swap off the sheep. I actually think next turn I'm going to just swap off the sheep onto the plains hill. You pop onto a plains hill. Yeah, I can just pick. I've got enough popped up. Just pick up the sheep with no problem. I'll build a worker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yeah, I'll build it in for 3 turns. 1 pop, whip it. Dump the overflow into another worker. Regrow. Just work this out. Yeah, and it'll regrow in a single turn. So I'll dump basically 105, 6, and 7. I'll build the worker. 108, I'll slave it. 109, I'll dump the overflow into a second worker. 110, it will regrow. And 111, it'll build the worker again. 113, it'll 1-pop whip it. Now if I wanted to, I could 2-pop whip it. I'd lose some time working the cottages, and it would take me 1 extra turn to get the second worker out. But that would be counteracted by the fact I've got the first worker out a turn earlier. I wouldn't have to regrow, I don't think, so I might not even lose worker turns. I'd basically be down 10 hammers. I'd also be saving time on the happy cap, but I don't care too much about that, so I might just do 2. Actually, no, it might be strictly better just to use 2-pop whip. 11, 22, double whip it for 50 is at 72. Size 5, I'm whipping off 2 cottages. Still making 11. So that'd put it to 83. Over 23. Plus 11. Should be 1 turn up there. He'd be 1 turn up on the whip. Yeah, you'd actually finish the second. You'd be. Wait, 8. Wait, 5, 6, 7. Whip on 8. Overflow on 9. Grow on 10. Build 11, whip on 12. So you'd be whipping on 12 and 8. So you'd have workers on 9 and 13. However, if you did a double pop slave, you would be, well, technically you could do it early. You could build on 5. You could whip on 6, but yeah, you could whip on 6 and you'd get it immediate. You'd get it on 7, so you'd be up 2 turns. So 7, you dump in 22 basically. 8, 9, 10, 11, get on 12. Yeah, actually, the double pop whip is more efficient from the point of view of getting worker turns out. It is less efficient from the point of view of producing commerce and growing cottages. So that's the trade-off with this city, actually. I'm not... It's also more efficient in happiness, and I'm not sure what to do now, because the double pop whip would seem like the right choice. I also only need this city to have 2 pop to regrow in a single turn. It can regrow in a single turn at size anything up to size 4, because it will produce 7 food per turn and it will have 21 food save. So food box size of 28 means anything up to 28 it would grow in a single turn. And I wasn't even considering that when doing the double pop slave. But if I'd have fit that in, it would have. Yeah, the amount of worker turns you get out is actually the same in the long run. It's slight variation in like the worker positioning, as in if you send the workers in 2 different directions, you'll get slightly more worker turns in one area than in another. Doesn't matter though. That doesn't matter. I don't have to make that decision until next turn. But that's something to think about. That's actually quite interesting. That a lot of people in RB mod actually only do single pop slaves, but there are times when double pop slaves work out as more efficient. And this is one of those where it's a lot deeper than it appears. It's not just on the hammers. It's on how much do you value the commerce, when the amount of worker turns you get, where you can send them. So if someone was doing a really tight micro plan, it might be that they want an extra worker turn in one area but not in another. What else is there? So I'd have to decide this till next turn. Again, I could actually double whip the Scour Ward next turn, but I think the micromanagement is slightly different because it makes 15 hammers per turn. So multiples of that are more useful. So for example, a 30 hammer whip would just about save 2 turns on building a worker, whereas 20 hammer whip would only save 1. Well, that's a worker turn. Never mind the hammers, that's also a worker turn. You'd lose because you'd have to spend an additional turn building the worker. And then there's the chops coming in. But if I were to double slave with this next turn, and a 15 hammers in, I'd make 50 from that. So I'd overflow out 5 plus my production. I'd only be making 13 because I'd drop off the 2 farms. So I'd save 18. However, I'd also have the chop that I could drop in. Wouldn't matter if I did the chop 105 or 106 actually. So I'd be at 5 plus 13 is 18. Would make it to 48. I could actually get a worker with a double pop slave. I could get a worker on turn 105 and on turn 106, I think. No, I can't count. It would help if I could count. Or would it? Actually, no. I would get it. I would get 106. Yeah. Next turn, I'd be at 65 plus 13 is 78. Plus that, it'd be at 108. Yeah, I'd get it. I'd get workers 5 and 6. So actually, it's possible a double slave's the right thing to do here because I get the workers out much quicker, and it's not too bad on the hammers side. I might lose 10 hammers, but I can go back to growing earlier. So rather than think of it as losing hammers, I'm gaining food because I'm spending more food into the food box. I'm spending more time growing. So that's actually a better thing to do. So I'll double slave next turn. I'll drop the chop in because that doesn't matter because it's going to be overflow anyway, so it's still not dedicated to anything. So I've still got that flexibility, and I can carry on with the mine, which I think would. But because I've also got rid of 2 pop, there's not so much pressure in the city on getting improved tiles done, which is one of the problems I've got here. So I'm going to double pop slave in the Scarrow Ward next turn, and Say Baron again. I'm probably going to do it in Say Baron again as well. No, actually, it's good to have thought about that because I've been considering, is it worthwhile doing 2 pop slaves? Is it actually, because of the nerf to the hammers, is it worth it? And I think just considering, evaluating what I can do this over the next few turns has shown that actually they're still useful. There's still advantages to doing it, and you need to evaluate those. Not just think, oh, I'm getting 10 hammers less, it's not worth it, I will never do that. Because it's a much more complex problem. Obviously, again, it changes for building improvements like markets and whatnot, but no, I think that's quite an interesting. It's quite interesting to look at that. So yeah, I'm going to two-pop whip this next turn. I'm going to label these so I don't forget. So I know. So where am I going after this? Do not die. Yes, I'm down on. I'm delayed on getting that hill improved. So what I'm going to do is next turn I'm going to use the fish. I'm going to then keep on growing on. I'm going to grow onto that grass forest, and then going to grow onto the coast. I don't care if I don't. I would like to have used that tile, but I can't. So be it. I'm going to focus on growth. If on the turn it grows to size 10, it can work more hills on that turn because it only needs like 3 food to grow. Then on that turn I'll work a bunch of hills, basically. Just to do it so that I don't grow with any excess food. This city is pretty nice. It's gonna start getting really nice very shortly. And I'll carry. What am I doing with you again? Yeah, I'm gonna give up the Plains Hill, aren't I? I'm gonna give up that Plains Hill. I'm glad I improved it though, because it's good to swap it. Good to swap it around. I am gonna have to keep on growing this city to size 7. I'm happy to keep on building wealth. I don't want to build any workers in this city. I don't want to build wealth. There's no I'm not saving overflow though. Or like 2 hammers. Screw that. Who cares? It's nothing special. Yeah, keep on building wealth, grow it. Focus on working the hill rather than the coast and growing quickly, I think. 2 commerce isn't worth too much, but then again, I don't know. Actually, it's 2.5 beakers or 4 gold, but I'd grow quicker. 1, 2, 3. I'd then pay more though. Fuck it, I'm not. I am. This city's quite expensive. Even that, it's saving 13 gold per turn now building wealth, but that's barely paying for itself and civic upkeep really, and inflation's at 3. Oh god, I hate inflation so much. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that right. Yeah, grow onto the farm. I think that's the right move here. Grow onto the farm so I can give the sheep back to got the reset. Go to size 2, work a mine, so it gets the hammers. It'll be at, what is it, 6. Next turn it'll be at 9. Then I'll finish and it can move that. So I'll spend 5 turns doing that, I think. Yeah, 5 turns working that tile, the farm. So it'll be at 9, that'll be at 14, and then it'll make 5 a turn. So it's just a little bit slow on reaching the 30. But oh, would it? Yeah, it'll be a bit slow on reaching the 30 hammers, but it doesn't matter. I've got to get a worker into position to chop. Oh god, that's another thing. I've got to get a worker to chop that, and that pops just as I want to use the workers to improve the banana, and I don't. Okay, when can this city get to 30 hammers into the granary? I might want to use the sheep for an additional turn then. What might be the best way to do this actually? Because I need to get the workers. Okay, because this is a bit weird. what else do I think now? I need to get the workers to have... I need the mine. I need to get them into the position so that they can actually do that banana. Oh god, that's actually difficult. So I might... Actually, that's some interesting micromanagement. It might actually be best if... I might have to road that grass forest hill. So if borders pop... Okay, if I want to get the city, I need to figure out what exactly it is I'm focusing on. What's the most important thing? Okay, because this is a process that I have to work out micromanagement. What is the most important thing here? The most important thing, in my eyes, is not the granary at City 9. That is not so important. It's actually hooking up that banana. The wheat will be improved by the 2 workers from City 10. They will also do the road. These workers, these 3 workers here, workers 7, 10, and 7, 8, and 10. Where's 9? Is 9 the one up there? Just so I know the numbers. Yeah, 9's the one up there. So 7, 8, and 10 need to improve that banana. That banana means, because of tech pacing, I need to have the road on that done on turn 110, so that the worker that did the road and any spare workers can do that plantation. Okay, so that's the first thing. However, I've got 2 workers coming out of the Scarrow Ward, and they'll be done 5 and 6. So on 6 and 7 I can move them. Now that's a bit interesting because there's not that many places I can move them. In fact, I move 1 on, finish it on 5, so on 6 move 1 work onto the hill, on 7 he roads and the other one moves up and irrigates that plains town, who cares. So finish on 5, 6 he moves, 7 he roads, 8 he finishes, and that worker moves here to do that. On 9 he moves onto there, 10 he roads. I could get the work done on 11 without being too inefficient. Or no, because there's already a road on that tile, so 6 he moves there, 7 he roads, 8 he roads and he moves there to do that. On 9 he roads and he moves here. 10, no, actually no, that's the way I'd get it done. But he could move here, so I'd actually have, I mean it takes, I think it's, is it 8? It's 9 turns to do that. So realistically, I'll only have 5 workers in the area. So I could have to use all 4 on one turn and then all 5 the turn after, or I just use 3. But with the worker being in that tile anyway, I'd have to go 2, 3 and then 4 to get it done in 3 turns. Oh god, this micromanagement is doing my head in. This is too early in the morning for doing this. Yeah, this micromanagement is getting horrendously difficult, it's got to be said. No, I'll tell you what, I don't think I need to do it. Not that efficiently. I've got other things. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to work all the permutations out. But what I'm going to do, cancel him. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move 1 worker 10 onto the Grass Hill Forest this turn. Next turn, 105 and he'll farm. So that's 105. 106 Hill Road, 107 Hill Road. He'll farm 6 and 7. On 8, that'll be complete. No. I'm not going to get that road done on that. Oh, that's horrible. To use one work, I actually have to slave that granary or get that chopping. This interplays. It'd be interesting if I weren't still high on coffee. Night shift sucks so much. Okay, so C9. If it works, mind that. That'd be 15 hammers, so I'd need to get the 15. I actually need to use that for the sheep for an additional turn, just to get the hammers in place. If I use the sheep for an additional turn, I'll have the hammers so that when borders pop, the chop comes in immediately, and I get it. I don't have to slave. So that means that I need a worker on that forest. Borders pop end of turn 113. So the chop comes in on 14, so it's chopping on 13, 12. It moves on 11. So label that. Worker here to 111. So one of the 3 workers here, plus one of the 2 workers from the Scarab Ward needs to be there doing that. That means I've only got 4 workers to do that banana, which means that from the turn I get iron working, it will take me 3 turns. Because I don't have enough to do it in 2. Fine, it'll take me 3 turns. That means I need 3 workers to do that. So either I get the road done the turn before the turn that I finish iron working. So I finish iron working, then the worker's free, along with 2 others to do that banana in 3 turns. That's legit. That is okay. That means I've got 1 worker spare. That worker can always help do the wheat, or it could be chopping a jungle tile. Doesn't matter. There are options. If I need that worker there on turn 111, the ideal time is to have that finish roading on turn 110. If it's finishing roading on 110, it's moved on turn 108. It's moving on turn 108. It's finishing the farm or the road on 107. So that's 5, 6 and 7. So I'll need a single worker turn from worker 10 to get that farm. So what I do is next turn I move it on, I farm and I cancel. There will be no road on that tile. But worker 7 will finish that farm, move on to that plains hill, road it, move on to the forest, chop it. That chop will come in on time. However, move it next turn. Use it this turn. Next turn. However, the issue is that if I'm going to give the sheep up, I need that farm done. Actually, that is actually ideal. That fits with giving up the sheep just in time, I think. As I said, it's too early, so I do a single worker turn. Okay, so I'll remember that. Worker 10, 1 turn. Actually. So 1 does that. 1 turn farm. 105. So then on 6, 7. So it moves. So I can do that on turn 105. 106 it moves on to the. No, so 106 it could road. 107 it can road. 8 he's there. 109 he roads. 110 he roads. 111 he moves straight on. I can do it on the grass hill. I can do it on the sheep. Doesn't matter. Better on the grass hill, is my opinion. Better on the grass hill. So yeah, 5 farm, 6 there, 7, 8 road. No wait, no. 5 farm, 6, 7 road, 8, 9, 10 road, 11 plantation. 11, 12, 13 plantation. Work at 8. Mine's on 5, 6 and 7. Finishes then. 8. It moves on to the banana. 9 and 10 it roads. It's then 3. Okay. 2 workers, I can just eat. There's no other way to do it. They just can't get the workers into position. Unless, yeah, there's no way to get the workers into position. Double whip on 5. 6, I move it on the 70 roads, 80 roads. Slave the second worker on. No, don't slave. No, 5, do that. 6, he finishes, he does that. No, is it? No, 5. And then 6 he finishes, so 7 he does that. 8 he moves there to road. 9, he moves there to mine it. God damn it, that's not easy. No, the micro. I'm just gonna. There's so many rivers in this area that actually construction would be very sodding nice. There's no other real choice in the matter other than to move them onto the rice to road that and then move them up to chop mine forest, the forest hill, just to move them around. A moment, finish on 5. So you use them on 6 and 7. He uses that. On 8 he moves there and he moves to the jungle. 90 roads, 10 roads, 11 he could actually move. Actually, yeah, I could do it that way. That would be more efficient. So what happens is, on 5, end of turn 105 and finish the worker. 6 he roads the rice. And then he cancels. On 7, the new worker comes down and finishes the road on the rice. And he moves on, and the original worker moves on to the forest to mine that, mine cancel. So that's 7 is that. So 1. 8 he moves on to the jungle tile. Whilst the worker on the rice moves to mine cancel on there. On 9 he roads. And there's worker on the forest hill. Again, mine cancels. On 10, the worker finishes the road in the jungle. Oh, fuck it, no, I won't have iron working, so I can't do shit to it. I'd have to burn another worker turn. Or already got 2 workers that can do that banana, so I would actually have the 3, wouldn't I? So actually that worker wouldn't matter. I could move that worker onto the 4th worker. So the last worker I finished in the Scarab Ward would move onto the normal jungle tile to chop that. I've already got worker 8, 10 and the original worker, the new worker out of the Scarab Ward to do the bananas. That's the 3 that I need. The 4th one moves down and helps to prep the second jungle tile so that can be cottaged once the banana's finished. it would be a worker turn short. Actually, not ideal, but it doesn't matter. I've got the 3 workers. I've got the micromanagement to get 3 workers onto that banana to get it done. There's just, yeah, yeah. And to get that forest done. So the main thing then is to figure out how to get the wheat improved. Um, I might actually burn a worker turn to get that second, to actually use the second worker. I might just burn it, move it onto that, just move it over onto the jungle on 110 anyway, and just waste that worker turn. Because that would mean, wait, no, 11, 112, 113. So 113, if I used 4 workers, some of them would be free. But borders pop end of turn 113. So in fact, if I used 4, and then I'd use 1 on turn 113, the other 3 could move down onto this plains hill actually to mine it, or whatever, and then I could use 3 of them to improve, all 3 of them to improve the wheat. So I wouldn't even need the workers from City 10, or I could use them and get the wheat done in a single turn. That would be very nice. So I might actually be... So, actually no, there is a way to get the workers into position to get all of these tiles done as quickly as possible. Banana, as much as I'd love to get it done in 2 turns, I just do not have the workers in position. I'd actually have to drag one of the additional workers from the Scarrow Ward over. I don't think it's worth doing that. Technically possible. It is very possible, actually. Move him on there. On 5, chop. On the flatland forest. On 6. On 7, and then on 8. On 109 he moves there. 110 moves in onto the jungle. Again, but in the work turn. 111, I'd have 5 workers doing the banana. It'd be done 112 with 1 worker free to move wherever. Yeah, it's doable. It's definitely doable. You end up burning 2 work turns. That's actually not too many. 2 work turns is a perfectly reasonable amount to burn for the additional food I'd get. But also, not just from getting the banana hooked up, but allowing me to hook up the wheat in a single turn. Because if it took me 3 turns to hook up that wheat, I'd be losing, as opposed to 1, I'd be losing like 6 food, which would be compounded through working, growing to size 3, 4, 5, and getting a bit. So actually, and it only mean burning 2 work turns in this area, and everything else would be fine. So I'm quite likely to. I'm going to burn at least 1. I might burn 2, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's some complicated. That it's not the most complicated worker management, but it's not simple. I mean, and that's considering me taking a set tech path. If I'd wanted to, I could actually finish aesthetics in 1 turn now, and I'd be getting pretty close. I don't think I could 2-turn ironworking like next turn, but obviously the workers aren't in position, so there's not as much benefit to doing it that way. But I could do 1 turn aesthetics, like now, 1 turn mysticism, then do ironworking, then do meditation, and all that stuff. So there's so many permutations now that actually balancing it all, there are a lot of decisions that are perhaps overlooked in affecting the gameplay. But anyway, no, I'm going to do, so yeah, worker, turn 105 and 106, 2 workers, so that's 11, workers 11 and 12, no, 105 and 6, build a worker and Sea Baron again, 105, and I might even build that. I don't think I'll get it 100, I could whip it 106 actually, that would actually be worker 12 there, worker 13, Scarrow Ward 14 had come out from Sea Baron again, what was it? I got on 6, 7, 8, end of turn 11. I think you'd get that. So without growth. So yeah, that's those that put me up to 14 workers. That's reasonable. I think that's what I'm going to do. 14 workers. Anyway, that's the turn. Let's just have a look at the demographics quickly. Is that Commodore still? Commodore is researching so fast. Yeah, Commodore must be building research or something. Novice in representation. Lewin isn't teching fast at all, is he? You can see that compared to us, he's not. Whether that's because he's not building wealth or whatever, I don't know. But even without me building wealth, I would still be higher than that. And I have the gold to say that I'm going to gold for enough turns of 1% tech that I'm not really. It's not unrepresentative. Vindicator's not doing too bad. Vindicator is doing fairly bad. Thoth's doing okay-ish, but he's not. And Sadoa's just run out of tech, it seems. Manufacturing's interesting because you see Lewin all the way down here at bottom. You look at crop yield and he's like, well, he's second. But is that manufacturing so much lower than Novice's that you'd have, and Novice has much better GNP that there's like no point, like Novice is doing better. Pretty much. Novice has more pop, he might not have as many cities. If you look at Novice now, you see he's only got 8 cities, whereas Lewin's got 10. But Novice's cities are better and more productive. Question is, does he have the space to settle for more? Rice has improved. The bananas, not so might be. Novice can get a city up here. The cows improved. I don't know who's got that cow though. The gold's improved. All the food's improved around here. So, oh, that sheep's improved. Farm's not so. Novice can probably get a few more cities. Probably get to about the same level. Sadoa's going to kill somebody. Vindicator doesn't care if he dies. Everyone else is in a tight pack. My powers should be a bit higher, but I've not finished the spears in the queue. Everyone was quite close, and now it's just spread out, because again, Commodore's, he's built his army, he's running into a happy cap, he can't get more pops, so he can't grow his crop yield. Fast again, a happy cap, he's got difficulty growing. Sadoa, not as big a problem, it seems, but again, you see there's more, it's just stratification. Yeah, I'd have to put me and Novice as front runners for this game, because like as I said, like Commodore might have really good tech, but he's weak elsewhere. Manufacturing's not bad, but his crop yield's not great. And basically, if he can't rectify that crop yield problem, getting more cities, getting a higher happy cap, he'll be out of the running shortly because he will not be able to keep up with production. To just keep up with the output that me and Novice can do. But because of the power being so close, there's no real way to stop Novice at the moment. By that I mean over the next like 5 to 10 turns. After that, though, because of the amount of tech I'll have, I'm like, I think I can stop him. War elephants, horse archers, catapults, a few swords, and a music artist. That's the plan. Wait and see what happens. I've got enough gold in place. Now it's like just turning off one city from wealth. Would suggest I only have enough gold for for 8 turns worth of research, which is like 1 for aesthetics, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to get literature. So that wouldn't be music, but I can turn that back. But again, that's going to go back onto wealth shortly, like turn 107, I think, for a few turns. Say Baron again is going to go off wealth shortly, but Aram Collision is going to go off wealth as well to build a wonder. So actually no, I don't think I can get to music unless I carry on building wealth everywhere. That is one strategic option, but whatever. But no, I'm going to go for. It'll probably stop after literature, horseback riding, and ironworking. So yeah, that's the turn. So that's actually an hour-long turn doing a lot of micromanagement. I hope I didn't bore anybody, but have a good day and yeah.